Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Mark and I thank you so much for coming by today. I hope you're doing great. I hope you're staying healthy. And today I wanted to share with you these little accordion sketchbooks. These are little sketchbooks that you can make. They're really easy to make and they're really fun to work with. The reason is because you can use them as sort of a journal. You can make a comic book out of them. This particular one has 32 pages in it. And the beautiful thing about it is it's a sketchbook made from a single piece of paper. And if you've never seen it, let me back up a little bit. If you've never seen one of these accordion sketchbooks, they're a lot of fun, they're easy to make, and they're really, really useful. So I have a bunch of these that I use. This one here is my school days sketchbook. This was when I was teaching high school art. I used to keep these in the classroom, so during my prep periods or whatever, I would just sit and doodle and do watercolor and markers. These have been a great go-to sort of carry around sketchbook for me, made with different kinds of paper. This is a Bristol board paper. This one is a cotton Fabriano paper. There's endless ways to make these, endless ways to use these. So come on along, let's check these out. If you have little ones, then it's a fun project with a little supervision. But overall, these are just a fun way to just spend some time, especially during these at-home times. And I hope you enjoy this. So come on along and we'll check these out. So I've been making accordion sketchbooks for years. And like this one here, this is a portrait format or vertical format sketchbook, which is made from a single piece of Bristol paper, which is great for markers, ballpoint pens, and even a little bit of watercolor. But I love it because there's 32 panels that I can draw in, but it's one single piece of paper that's been folded up and made into the accordion sketchbook that you see. I love the format, I love the way it lays out, and it's a large piece of paper, so it gives me that just enough room to work with this, and you can draw across the panels or you can just draw one panel at a time. And I love that you can unfold it and then fold it right back up into this shape. Now this one is done on Fabriano paper, which is a very heavy cotton paper. It's really heavy, so the water from watercolor will saturate right in it. I don't use markers on here because it'll just soak up the marker. But I love this one in the horizontal format because I can draw panoramic style. I can draw 1, 2, 3, or even 4 panels across, which you can't find sketchbooks like that. So these are great sketchbooks to have and to make. They're fun to make and they're fun to have. And you can see just unfolding it is just a project in itself. These are great and they're super portable so they can go anywhere with you. And you can see I have a lot of pages left to finish this one out. So I have a bunch of these kicking around. Now this one here, this is a little tiny, just a little tiny one that I made from a single piece of printer paper. And if I unfold it and show you this, this is a vertical format little sketchbook, but it's just printer paper. So this is good for ballpoint pen, good for markers, good for even just like, your Bic pens or whatever, your gel pens. And that's what I love about these is you can just take this little tiny one and just sit down and you can do one panel, you can do 2 panels across, or you can do 4 panels all the way across. And it always just unfolds to that format and you can just keep going until you fill the whole thing up. And that's the great thing about these is that there's so much versatility, portability, and usability in these, and yet you can just stick it in your pocket. So let me show you how I make these accordion sketchbooks. It's really, really easy. You just have to have a little supervision if you're younger with the scissors, and you can use a pen if you want. Once you do this a couple of times, you won't need the pen. But all you're going to do is fold a piece of paper in half. Any size paper will work. So you have 4 panels now. You have the outside, the backside, and the 2 inside ones. 4 panels. So there you can do 4 drawings if you want. Now with this folded in half, I'm going to take the other side, one half of the panel, and fold that to the middle, and then fold the other half to the middle as well. So now I have 4 strips. You can see that. That's 8 panels, even though they're tall or long or however you want to look at it. Then I'm going to fold the whole thing in half the other way to make it 8 panels. And then I'm going to do the same thing again and fold those sides into the middle. So now I have 16 squares on each side, or 16 rectangles. And you can hold it vertically or horizontally, whichever way you like. That's how you're going to decide what format this is going to be in. I'm going to make this a landscape format, so it's going to be horizontal. I'm going to count 3 squares over and just put a little dot right in the center there of that crease and draw the line to the edge. 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to do the same thing going the other way, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to draw this line all the way to that edge. And you'll see it's kind of like a stepping stone, almost like a snake if you start from one corner and go to the bottom. And I'll draw the dot here and draw this line out here. Now, why are these lines important? Because this is where we're going to cut the paper to make this thing fold together. So we're just going to cut right here, and if you're a young student or a youngster using scissors, just be careful not to cut your fingers, because it is easy to just get your finger caught in there. So now once we cut it, you can see that this thing kind of opens up, and we can now start folding the panels. And that's how difficult it is, which is to say it's not difficult at all. I actually have a harder time just remembering which way to fold this and make sure that I fold the panels the right way, and just keep folding and keep folding. I have a PDF that I will share with you in the description below to my website, where you can have a diagram that you can look at to get a better detailed understanding of how this thing folds together and how to cut it up and all that. But you can see just a few simple folds and a few simple cuts, and you have this really neat little accordion sketchbook, just using a simple piece of printer paper. And here's the one that I drew the little characters on before, and you can see 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3 across there. So this is the one that I just did. This is the horizontal one, and you can see it's the exact same thing. So the landscape and the portrait are exactly the same thing. I just turned the paper to get a long version and a tall version. So I have these little sketchbooks here that I can play with or do whatever I want with. They're really transportable and portable. I love that about them. And I also have my other two, so I'm pretty much covered for a while. There's a lot of space left in these, and I have a lot of time that I can draw. But I also want to do something a little different today. I want to use a colored piece of paper, so I'm going to use this Strathmore 500 Series charcoal paper. It has a really nice blue tone to it, which I want to do the same thing. I'm just going to fold this large piece of paper in half, so it doesn't matter what size the paper is. I'm going to fold one panel to the middle and then the other one, doing it exactly the same way I did with the 8.5 by 11 paper. And again, folding the other way and folding those again. So now I have the same thing, 32 panels. That's 16 panels on each side. And I'm going to do the same thing again, where I'm going to kind of mark off these lines and cut. And I'll cut 3 squares up, 3 squares up, and then in the middle one I'm going to flip the whole thing around and cut 3 squares up the other way. And that's it. And then I just go ahead and start folding and, creating my accordion sketchbook. And this is exactly how easy it is. Now, I've sped it up a little bit just so I don't waste your time, but I'm going a little careful and just trying to take my time with it. And once you get practiced at these, you can make these things without even thinking about it. They're very easy. So the great thing about this toned paper is that I can just use a white colored pencil and just draw in. This is different from the other ones where they're obviously white, and the Fabriano paper has a little bit of a light yellowish tone to it. But the great thing about this is I have this great little accordion sketchbook that's all toned. I can use tan paper. You could use a paper bag for this if you wanted and get that same kind of tone with that. So what I'm going to do now is just show you a little example of how I can just open it up and do a panoramic drawing just right across. And the great thing about these, you can do whatever you want in these. It's your sketchbook. I'm going to just use this one as sort of a daily journal. And during this time at home, hey, tonight we had pasta. And so I'm just going to do a quick little doodle of what it looks like at my house for dinner and how we all had pasta. And you can use anything you want as far as markers. You can use colored pencils, which would work great with this toned paper. And you can even just use this black gel pen, which works perfectly on this because it all pops right off. The Posca marker that I used didn't pop off super well because it absorbs in. But it's fine. It's my sketchbook. It's my journal. Now I have a nice little collection, and I'm really happy with these. Well, thank you so much for checking this out today. I'm really grateful that you stopped by to watch. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, and I'd love to bring you more content like this in the future. I hope you're staying well and staying healthy. Thank you so much for coming by, and I hope you enjoy these accordion sketchbooks. Take care, and God bless.